Somewhere behind guarded gates in Brunei sits a car collection so famous that the number itself has become a legend: 7,000 vehicles, worth $5 billion. But there is a problem. Neither number has been publicly audited. There is no complete inventory, no public valuation, and almost no access to the main garages. So the real story is not simply that one royal family bought an impossible number of cars. It is how a private collection became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in automotive history. Start with what can actually be verified. Guinness World Records lists Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah as the owner of the largest private Rolls-Royce fleet, about 500 cars. Guinness also says that in 2011, the entire collection was believed to be worth roughly $4 billion. That does not prove the modern $5 billion estimate. It gives us a credible baseline from a time when many of these cars were already exceptionally valuable. It also reveals the collection's extraordinary scale. During the 1990s, the royal family reportedly accounted for almost half of all Rolls-Royce purchases. Imagine 500 Rolls-Royces. Parked bumper to bumper, they would form a line more than 2.5 kilometers long. And Rolls-Royce was only one brand. The list recorded by Guinness reads like a cheat code for the 1990s supercar world: the Porsche 959, Bugatti EB110, Jaguar XJ-R15, Dower 962, Ferrari FX, Cizeta Moroder F16T, and what Guinness describes as the only right-hand drive Mercedes-Benz CLK-GT-R. Then there are the McLarens. Guinness lists 5 McLaren F1s in the collection. McLaren says only 106 F1 road and race cars were produced in total, while just 5 road-going F1 LMs were made. We should not confuse those numbers or claim every rare variant belongs in Brunei. But even 5 ordinary F1s would represent a remarkable concentration of one of the most important supercars ever built. The photographs in this video show representative examples of these models. They are not being presented as the royal family's actual cars. That distinction matters because so much of the collection's reputation comes from images, lists, and estimates that are difficult to authenticate. Why did the collection grow so large? Brunei's oil wealth gave the royal household enormous buying power during an era when manufacturers were willing to create almost anything for the right customer. Ordering a production model was only the beginning. Coach builders could change the body, convert a coupe into a wagon, move the steering wheel, alter the interior, or create a one-off shape that never appeared in a showroom. This is what makes the collection historically important. It may contain not just expensive cars, but experiments from a period when the world's most exclusive manufacturers treated a single customer like a private design department. And yet the doors remain mostly closed. In 2025, automotive photographer Larry Chen traveled to Brunei for Hagerty. According to Hagerty's own description, he asked Prince Jeffrey if he could see the famous collection and spoke with Prince Abdul Mateen about photographing a personal collection in the future. He received permission to document a separate group known as the Princess Collection. The main royal garages, however, did not become an open museum. That failed access attempt tells us something important. If a major automotive photographer working with a large media company and speaking directly with members of the royal family still cannot produce a complete tour, then online claims about exact counts and current condition deserve caution. Condition may be the biggest unknown of all. A valuable car does not preserve itself simply by sitting indoors. Ferrari's own Classiche department explains that cars used infrequently can be more problematic than cars driven regularly. Belts, fluids, tires, fuel systems, seals, and batteries all age. In one official Ferrari restoration example, even a low-mileage car required replacement parts, renewed liquids, cleaned fuel tanks, and extensive mechanical work. That does not prove Brunei's collection is neglected. It explains why the number of cars cannot tell us their true value. A perfectly maintained McLaren F1 and an immobile one may share a badge, but their condition, originality, and restoration needs can produce very different valuations. Now, return to the $5 billion headline. Guinness recorded a believed value of around $4 billion in 2011. Since then, values for models such as the McLaren F1, Ferrari F40, Porsche 959, and Bugatti EB110 have risen dramatically. At the same time, the condition and ownership history of individual Brunei cars remain uncertain. Without a complete inventory and inspection, $5 billion is best described as a reported estimate, not a certified appraisal. The collection's greatest value may not be financial anyway. If the surviving cars, specifications, and records were carefully documented, they could reveal an entire hidden chapter of automotive design. One-off experiments, forgotten colors, unusual body styles, and engineering decisions made for a customer with almost unlimited choice. That is why enthusiasts remain fascinated. The mystery is not just how many cars are behind the gates. It is whether the collection is a perfectly preserved time capsule, a restoration challenge on an unimaginable scale, or something in between. Until the royal family opens the main garages, the honest answer is simple. We know the collection is extraordinary. We know parts of its roster are real. But the 7,000 car count, the $5 billion valuation, and the condition of the fleet remain part fact, part estimate, and part automotive legend. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly why the story refuses to disappear. If you could save one car from this hidden collection, which would you choose? Tell us below and subscribe to Echoes of Cars for more stories hiding behind the world's most remarkable machines.